We like to start at the beginning because it wasn't too many years ago that you were sitting in a seat like this in an auditorium at Bucknell and then Stanford. So tell us about where you grew up, where you're from, family, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. And seriously, feel free to sit down. I just want to make sure I was kicking off in the right foot. Yes, so funny you should ask that, Dave. I was born in Oil City, Pennsylvania, and if anyone cheers for that, I mean, that's a very rare thing, okay? And then I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Go Steelers, right? Am I going to get in trouble for that? I'm just saying, hey, come on. Okay, let's move past that. And then I went to Bucknell. I studied philosophy and poetry and political science, never business, nothing related to technology. I think I was required to learn how to use email, which was, yes, new at the time. And so I definitely was interested in helping the poor, right? Helping to alleviate poverty. I had no idea what that meant. And I don't say that in a way that is demeaning to my former self that didn't know what that meant. I didn't. I felt like I was trying to define a lot of what I wanted to do around sort of what things that were not so nonprofits, right? International development, so just not here. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew I was interested in these things. And so I tried very hard to sort of experiment and do different kind of service projects, volunteer opportunities. I did everything from, serve on boards to participate in service days or week-long trips abroad or in, weekend trips in inner city Pittsburgh or wherever else to do different service projects. And I often felt confused and disappointed. So I don't know if this resonates at all, but I definitely, if I were to catalog all of my experiences up until the point at which maybe many of you find yourselves, so sophomore or junior year in college, I hadn't studied abroad yet, and that was a big pivotal sort of thing for me. But most of the things that I had done, I felt I didn't know how they really fit into the big picture, and I didn't know even if they had caused lasting change. All I knew was that I was trying my best to learn and to get involved and to do good things in the world, but I really didn't know how to think about it or measure it or participate in the right way. Just as a for example, I remember, I'm going to do two for examples, because I have lots of for examples, but two that I have a vivid image of in my mind were, during my senior year of high school, I went on a service trip with my church to Haiti, and we worked in an orphanage there, and it was a wonderful, life-changing experience in that it just kind of broke my heart open to see for the first time in my whole life abject poverty, and to meet kids my age who weren't going to school every day. They weren't even necessarily working in jobs every day that I could understand. They were just trying to stay alive and eat and get by and be safe. And I mean, it was really day-to-day survival for a lot of them. So I remember this week, we did some nice things for the community. And again, I'm not saying this in a cynical or sarcastic way. I say it because the memory itself has not a lot to do with the things we did, but more about the way that I felt coming away from it. We, painted some walls of an orphanage, and we, I think, set up a playground, and we hung out with the kids a lot, and then we came back. And I didn't know exactly what my impact had been, but I knew that the next week in my high school it was senior prom. And I'd been looking forward to this like many other classmates had for a while. Kind of cheesy, but I loved it. I love that stuff. So I was super excited about it, but I remember feeling so conflicted and literally kind of having a breakdown, like not knowing what to do. I found myself in the middle of senior prom wearing my nice dress, knowing that the evening cost hundreds of dollars just for my little group of friends, and not understanding how everyone was okay with this and how I was okay with this, and not really being able to enjoy parts of it because the week before I was in what felt like a totally different world, but I knew that it wasn't. So there's one moment into my psyche, little glimpse of me kind of freaking out at prom, crying in my dress, not sure what to do. No real answers there, so it's okay to have these times in your life. And then another one is, I remember my first job out of college, I didn't have a plan, and I will say this now, this is not a prescriptive talk, like, everyone, I think you should all go do the following 10 things in your life. I have my life, I have my experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and some things have worked, some things haven't, but this is just what I've done, so I'm not recommending this. Although if you do this, let me know how it goes. I didn't have a plan for my career. I really just wanted to throw myself into service. And so I very sort of haphazardly moved to California from Pennsylvania because I was in love with the boy. And the job was kind of secondary, and mostly I just wandered around Stanford's campus the first day that I moved to the Bay Area. Again, not really knowing anybody. I landed in this house where there were 11 people. It was like a 3-bedroom. We eventually got evicted, not my proudest moment. But it was very, adventure after college, see what happens. And I happened to get, my first job out of school was as a temporary administrative assistant. for somebody on medical leave at the Stanford Graduate School of Business. And I remember thinking, remember I'd never studied business at this point. I remember thinking, business school, fine, I guess this will be fine. I need to pay my rent. And it turns out it was a wonderful, wonderful place because it was a place where people every day were thinking about how to use business skills and business thinking to solve social problems. So it was awesome. And it really changed the way I looked at business and social change. But anyway, I was going there for work by day, and by night I lived in this home for teen moms to serve as the house mom. So I would come home to like real chaos, and I feel bad calling this group of girls and their kids, which became sort of a second family for me. I don't want to call them a social problem, but they definitely had some challenges, and this was a nonprofit that was trying to help. So I'd wake up, there'd be this chaos, I'd drive kids to daycare, make sure the girls got to high school and stuff, and then go to work where there are all these management theories of change. And again, there are a lot of times when I felt like I had these two worlds, I didn't know how to fit them together. I didn't know how that and this nonprofit that did bake sales and things that, were they strategic? I don't know. What were we doing? What were our metrics to measure success and change in these girls' lives? I wasn't really sure. We were kind of in survival mode. And then I was coming to this amazing institution of learning and thought leaders. So there are a lot of times in my life where my method and my process for trying to figure out what I wanted to do was kind of scattershot and kind of just trying different opportunities and seeing what resonated with me. And not everything did.